Okay, so this is The Hungry Lamb. It's gonna be a visual novel. I've never played one myself. I mean, it's kind of on the edges of being a game, really, most of the time. But thank you to 2B Games for sending me a key. What's this? Oh, these are like story choices. Just makes me think of those books that have like multiple storylines. Like you read something and then it says turn to page whatever. Often ponder why my father named me Liang. The word Liang indicates Shan, virtue. Hello, Lone. The character Shan is the shape of a open-mouthed sheep. Looking at it, you can imagine the sheep's cry. Perhaps if one is as gentle as a lamb, Liang suits him. However, I refuse to see myself as a lamb. I am a wolf.
Liang, 送他回家了。
Oh, that's voice acting. But it's in like Chinese or something though. Liang sent him home. From nearby there came a rough voice inquiring. I glanced sideways and a man approached from the distance. Step by step he made his way, twigs and fallen leaves crunching. Sunlight streamed through the cracks in the woods, dappling everything, yet he adeptly hid himself in the shadows. I sized him up. Capped in a bamboo hat, clad in a raincoat holding a gourd, he seemed more a fisherman than a menace at first glance. Such an appearance made it easy to let one's guard down, hence he was usually tasked with luring the sheep, and then I would do the butcher's job. This fellow was another wolf accompanying me. His name was Sheik Singh, but I prefer calling him Tang.
喂，
Ugh.
问你呢，干嘛不说话？处理干净了吗？
Hey, why the silence? Did you wrap it up? Wrapped up gave the sheep a stab when he wasn't looking.
现在丢哪儿了？
Where did you dump him? Buried.
埋仔细了没？这里离城可不远，别被野兽刨出来。
Did you bury him cautiously? We're not far from the town. Make sure no bees dig him up. Buried him died, no worries.
行，那他身上都有些啥呀？
Alright, what was on him? 3,000 coins worth, 5 tiles of silver plus 200 coins, ragged clothes and a pouch. I take 4 tiles. You get the ragged clothes and the pouch is mine.
凭啥？
Why? This time there was just one sheep. I killed and buried him, so I deserve more.
行吧，行吧，就这样吧。荷包多少钱？
Alright, alright. How much is the pouch worth? Not much. It's just a common item.
我看看。
Let me take a look. Tang wanted to see the pouch. I reached into my waist bag and pulled it out for Tang to see. The pouch was small enough to fit in one hand. Common sense would dictate that a sheep's pouch might contain a handkerchief or some checks, but it was empty. The pouch was red, sewn together with patches, yet it looked new, and was embroidered with a light-colored word, An. I chuckled softly. How did the pouch end up with this embroidered word? Did the lamb's name contain An, or did he wish safety from the pouch? If it's the latter, the pouch surely failed him.
妈的，确实是破东西，卖不了几个钱，你自个儿收着吧。
Damn, it's really just some junk. You can keep it for yourself.
真不知道你为啥稀罕这些羊毛啊？每宰一只羊都得留点羊毛，小心哪天留了痕迹，把你给害死。
I don't get why you're into these wools. You always take some wools every time you butcher a sheep. Beware, one day you'll find yourself killed for leaving traces. No big deal. I gave the pouch a squeeze and tossed it into my waist pouch.
好，趁着天没黑，咱快去华州搞点酒肉。
Let's go while it's still daylight. We should grab some food and drinks in Huazhou. Tang patted my shoulder, taking the lead.
梁，这次你分的东西多，可得你请啊。
Liang, since you got the bigger share this time, it's your treat. Okay. I responded casually to Tang, pressing my hand on my bamboo hat to softly lower it. Following Tang's footsteps, I walked forward, each step accompanied by the crunch of leaves underfoot. It was fine not to pay attention to these sounds, but if you do, they could become quite loud. It was as if the bird chirps and monkey cries had disappeared, and the whole forest was flooded with the crunch of trodden leaves. Two wolves trod across the desolate mountains and wild ridges. Upon passing a tree with a sturdy twisted trunk, I couldn't help but look closer. I knew it. Beneath that tree lay the sheep I butchered. The sun hung high, almost blinding, but its rays lacked the slightest trace of warmth. I couldn't shake the memory of the sun from my childhood, so warm and inviting. Now it felt different. Perhaps it was a sign of the fading dynasty, an era gripped by misfortune, where even the daylight had grown cold. Perched on a boulder by an inn in Huazhou, I emptied the last drop from my flask. The fiery liquor seared my throat, yet its warmth refreshed my stomach. In bygone days I deemed myself an unfortunate soul. However, in this year of calamity, savoring the fiery liquor proved to be a rare stroke of luck.
梁，有活了，还是个大活。
Liang, a job, a big one. A familiar voice rang in my ears. I glanced over and there was Tang standing behind me. Same old attire, bamboo hat, straw raincoat. He seemed like a fisherman. Tang's eyes gleamed, smiling at me, ready to spill some good news. What's the job? I gave him a quick look, inquiring casually.
城北有间客栈，关了尹三儿留的几只小羊。
Up north at an inn, got a few lambs locked up, Yin sons.
本来呀，这几只小羊是尹三的人去送的，但他们犯了别的事儿，被官兵给抓了。
Originally, Yin Sun's crew was supposed to escort these lambs, but they got into trouble, caught by the official soldiers.
他现在无人可用，让我们替原本的人办事儿。
Now he's short on manpower and wants us to take over the task. I won't handle lambs.
哎，你会错意了，我当然知道你不杀小羊啊。
You've got it wrong. I know you won't harm any lambs. Then what's the deal?
我们要送几只小羊去洛阳。
We're to escort some lambs to Luoyang. Human trafficking. My heart sank. I finally got what Tang had been hinting at with his mysterious talk. Whenever he sought me out before, it usually meant dark deeds, like robbing and killing. This time all secretive-like. Turned out he wanted us to do trafficking, delivering some acquired lambs to Luoyang for a good price.
诱口？你不能这么说，小羊又不是我们逮的，算不得诱口。
Human trafficking, don't frame it like that. We didn't nab those lambs. It's not human trafficking.
不过你愿意这么想，倒是也好懂一些。
Anyway, if that's how you want to see it, I can understand.
你也知道的，尹三儿那人虽然一直是帮我们介绍劫道的货，但是他的主业其实是人牙子。
You know Yin-san, he helps us spot opportunities in the underworld, but his main hustle is human trafficking.
这单确实是要把他搞到的小羊给送到洛阳，不过不是啥恶事儿，是善事儿。
This deal is about taking the lambs he found and delivering them to Luoyang, but it's not an evil deed, it's a good deed. How is human trafficking a good deed? Exactly. I frowned and almost didn't want to hear Tang talk anymore.
当然是善事儿啊！你听我说，先听我说。
Of course it's a good deed. Trust me. Just listen.
娘，这几年各地大旱，很多羊都被饿死，所以呀，有快饿死的人家把他家的小羊卖给尹三换钱粮。
Liang, with widespread drought in recent years, many families are on the brink of starvation. So you know, in desperate times, they sell their lambs to Yin-san for some money and food.
洛阳那边呢，有一只大肥羊啊，它有的是钱，就是生不出小羊，便想从穷地方收几只来养。
In Luoyang, there's a fancy sheep with deep pockets but no offspring. He's eyeing to acquire a few from impoverished areas.
你想啊，那些穷人家的小羊们本来就要饿死，我们把它送到富的地方去。
Just think about it, those lambs from poor families were bound to starve, we're just giving them a chance in wealthier places. Yeah, that's about it, the gist of it.
这样他们的父母不至于饿死，小羊也能吃得饱饱的，所有人都高兴了，咱这是在做善事啊。
So the parents won't starve, the lambs will be fed and everyone's satisfied. We're doing a good deed. Yeah, that's the unfortunate truth. Buying wives.
不瞒你说，一只小羊100。
No way that they're gonna just get taken to a place to live a good life.
几年都不愁吃穿了。
No secrets here. 1 lamb for 100 tiles, 4 for 400 tiles. We split it 50-50, and we're set for a few years without worrying about food and clothes.
妈的，扭扭捏捏的干啥呀？给个痛快呀！
Damn it, what the fuss? Just spill it.
你要是不做这么好的活，我就找别人做。这不是看你身手好，一个能顶俩。
If you decline, I'll find another guy for such a great deal. I know why I believe it has to be you. You are a veteran who, as one, can do the job of 2. Hold on. I called out the tongue. When do the lambs need delivering?
越早越好，我今天就要去看看。
As soon as possible. I'm checking it out today. Fine, I'll join you. I rose, brushing off dust. Tang laughed, leading the way. Tang said a few words, managing to convince me. Maybe it was the promise of no worries about food and clothing, or perhaps the idea of doing good deeds that swayed me. Anyway, I'm going along with Tang's plan to see what's up. Well, my esteemed guests, you're here at last. Please take a seat. Looks like a nice, reasonable good guy. Damn it, stupid mutt. Fetch hot wine for our 2 guests now. Just arrived at the inn with Tang, and Yin-san greeted us with flattery. Guiding us to our seats at the inn, he scolded his workers to bring us drinks. The sudden shift in behavior made me wonder if he was just acting. I stayed standing, eyes fixed on Yin-san, my mind wandering into some interesting scenarios. Possibly from my childhood love for shadow plays. Whenever I meet someone, their animal form pops into my head. Most are sheep, Tang and I are wolves. They're a snake or a rat. Yin-san though comes across as a fox. This fox's lair was the inn in North Huazhou. No guest came and it's closed all year. The inn was a cover. He used it for his business dealings. There's a higher up he answered to. The big boss handed down missions and he passed them on to us. Back then the jobs we pulled for him were all about hitting caravans. He'd tip us off on a sweet haul and we'd go in. This time it's a bit different. A job involving human trafficking. Whatever the job, we meet up at this inn most of the time.
尹三儿，我们来了。梁说他可以解。
Yen-san, we're here. Liang's in for the job. Who said I'm in? I haven't committed.
啊，没定？哎呦，梁爷，你可不能没定啊！
Haven't made up your mind. Ah, Master Liang, you can't be uncertain now.
你身手好，又和星爷熟，这活可不能缺了你。
You're skilled and you're buddies with Master Singh. We can't do this without you.
哎，我知道您之前没做过右口的事儿，也不愿意做。
I know you've never been in the line of human trafficking before and don't want to.
只是真的不用担心，你们这次的活只是
Just relax. Your job this time is just delivering lambs.
都和你们没关系。
How they got here and who they're for, none of your business.
哎，而且我也不怕给你们交个底儿。这次啊，收小羊的人权势滔天，哪怕出了什么事儿，官府也查不下去。
What's more, I'll be straight with you. The person getting the lambs wields serious power. Even if things go south, the government won't be able to dig into it.
哎，再说了，现在兵荒马乱，官府哪能管得上啊？哎，星爷，您说是吧？
And in this chaos, the government can't keep up anyways. Master Sin, you agree, right?
是啊，去他娘的官府！闪地好多地方造反，他们要么在贪钱，要么在藏钱，哪能顾得上我们？
Exactly. Forget the officials. Many spots in Shan are in rebellion. They're either chasing money or hoarding it. They won't hassle us. Yin-san explained to me, relying on Tang backing him up at the same time. Tang chugged half a cup of hot wine, backing Yin-san and shooting me winks. No worries about food and clothes. Doing good deeds and times are chaotic. They kept echoing in my mind, challenging my principles. Now do I dive into this job or think twice? Scope out the lambs first. I'll take a look at the lambs first and decide after. I said slowly to Yin-san and Tang.
哎，行，梁爷愿意看小羊，那就有戏。
Alright, if you're interested in checking the lambs, I might have a chance.
猴子，去，把小羊带上来。
Mutt, go bring the lambs up here. Yin-san shouted, his voice echoing. The inn's waiter nodded, hurrying towards the back door. The lambs were brought up, tied with hemp ropes around their waist, linked together to stop any escape. Some softly cried, others trembled, nudged into a line by the inn's waiter, standing in front of me. I kept quiet, scanning the lambs. Oh, this is so bad. The leftmost lamb and the second one. They must know each other. Staying close, the elder guarding the younger. Probably sisters, both pretty young. I figured the older sister was 9 and the younger one was 6. Both sported worn-out clothes, dark complexions, and rugged, disheveled faces. The slender frames hinted at a poor background. Glancing at them, the older sister, scared yet putting on a brave front, defiantly looked eyes with me, while the younger one she shied away, too frightened to speak. Maybe the older sister aimed to protect the younger one, and viewed me as a threat. The street sheep. The third lamb stood out from the first two. Probably of school age, she wore old clothes, was small and had much fairer skin than the first two lambs. She bowed her head in fear, hesitant to speak, yet her upright stance hinted at an unusual background. Both the two on the left, the third one snatched. I casually asked Yin-san, laying out my judgment.
哟，梁爷眼力真准，不瞒您说，确实如此啊。
Well, what sharp eyes, to be honest, Master Liang. It's true.
左边啊，这俩小羊是姐妹，她们是附近穷山沟的。
Over there, these two lambs are sisters. They're from a nearby poor hamlet.
哎呀，现在各处闹饥荒，他家养不起这么多娃子，便先把女娃卖了，给小儿子换粮吃。
With famine everywhere now, her family couldn't feed all those kids, so they sold the girls to feed their youngest son. Oh yeah, and, well, it's in most of history, but in China especially, girls were much less valuable in parents' eyes than sons. Yin-san spoke slowly, and as he did, I shifted my attention to the two lambs, keeping an eye on their reactions. Yeah, still are unfortunately true. After hearing that, the younger sister stood there, seeming a bit lost. The older sister with teary eyes looked on the verge of crying. It seemed what Yin-san said was true.
至于第三只嘛，出身不错。 确实是我们拐的。
Oh yeah, the one-child policy, I forgot about that. Goddamn, Winnie the Pooh. About the third one, she's from a good family, was indeed snatched by us. Snatched? Is it safe?
肯定安全，不安全我哪敢往外送啊？
Absolutely safe. Do you think I'd risk sending her out otherwise? No way, snatched ones are safe, especially when this lamb seems from a decent family. I hushed my tone and spoke icily to Yin-san.
情况特殊，梁爷，别急，别急呀。
Very depressing. Unusual situation, Master Liang. Easy, take it easy. Yin-san chuckled awkwardly in response to my words.
来这边说话。
Let's talk over here. Yin-san pulled me aside a bit, tried to steer clear of that lamb.
梁爷啊，这只小羊情
Master Liang.
我们查过的，虽然它是贵家出身，但运它没有风险。
This lamb is in a unique situation. We've looked into it. Despite her noble background, trafficking her is risk-free. Why? When does trafficking a noble young lady become risk-free? Aren't you worried her family might report this to the government?
报官？哎呀，不怕。
Report to the government, no chance.
大家现在自顾不暇。
I can already feel like my mouth going numb. I don't know what it is about reading English. Her family is too occupied right now. No way they'd come looking for her. What happened?
他家呀，曾与原都师交往甚密，好像还真。
Her family had close connections with Inspector General Yuan. Yuan seemed to be distant relatives.
原都师你知道吧？哎，就是
You know Inspector General Yuan, right?
切片的，被诛了3族啊！
The one who offended the emperor, got sliced up and had 3 generations of his family wiped out.
都师死后，他家遭受株连，杀的杀，流放的流放，遭贬的遭贬，早就家不成家了。
After Inspector General Yuan's death, her family faced consequences. Some were killed, some banished, and others demoted. Their household has already fallen apart. I kept quiet. If Yin-san's words held true, no one would bother about the lamb this family lost. Even in times of peace and prosperity, the offsprings of condemned officials were disregarded, let alone in times of turmoil. Fine, I'll give the last lamb a look. I nodded, leaving the matter of the third lamb behind, and turned my attention to the last one. Uh-huh. The fourth lamb's a young boy. He looks like the oldest, tall, only a head shorter than me. Hunched, awkwardly tilting his head. He anxiously looked around, his gaze dodgy and elusive.
三儿，这羊看起来不太对啊，有呆病。
Yin-san, this lamb looks off. Is he sick? Tang frowned, studying the fourth lamb before him.
哎，是啊，他确实有点呆傻。
True, he's a bit slow.
小时候患了热病，把脑袋烧傻了。
Did he get a childhood fever that fried his brain?
不是，似乎他就是天生傻。
No, he's naturally slow. This lamb's been like this
他是弥勒佛转世，就一直养到大。
since childhood. His family initially thought he was the reincarnation of Maitri Buddha, so they kept raising him.
后来闹了饥荒，家里穷了些，不想养这佛了，他妈就把这小羊卖给我们了。
Later, when famine hit and his family became poor, not wanting to keep the Buddha anymore, his mother sold this lamb to us. Upon hearing the word mom, the fourth lamb got agitated, staring intently and yelling mom loudly. Seeing this, the other lambs seemed to think of their own moms too. Eyes teared up, quietly sobbing. This is so fucking depressing, Jesus Christ. Maybe for these lambs, feelings spread like laughter.
尹三儿，你确定肥羊会想要这种小羊？
Yin-san, you think the fancy sheep would want a lamb like this? Tang asks with a mocking tone, a hint of anger emerging in his voice.
谁知道呢？也许哪家也觉得他是弥勒佛转世，想要养呢。
Well, who knows? Say he believes the reincarnation thing and wants to keep him. Not that impossible.
洛阳那家说尽量是女娃子，但或许也能看下男娃子，能收的男娃比女娃少多了，也就只能
不行，
Oh, crap.
这种绝对不行。
Clicked accidentally.
哎，星爷为何不行啊？
Oh, the family in Luoyang said they prefer girls, but might consider boys as well. It's tough to find boys, so we had to settle for this one. No, this one's definitely a no-go. Why not, Master Sin?
先不说我要是肥羊，绝对不想要这种小羊。你给我们运也运不了啊！
Even if I were the buyer, I wouldn't want such a lamb. Besides, we can't handle escorting him.
这弥勒佛带着太麻烦，我和你梁爷在路上被他惹急了，一冲动便可能把他宰了。
Oh fuck. This Buddha is just too much trouble. If Master Liang and I get annoyed with him on the road, we might just end up getting rid of him.
哎呦，星爷呀，你就不能收收脾气？这是肥羊要的羊，少一只就少一份钱，丢一只可能都要你们倒给钱的。
Master Xing, ease up. These are the lambs the fancy sheep wants. Lose one, lose money. Lose two, you pay up extra.
那我更不能要了，我最管不来这种有呆病的。
Then count me out. I can't handle the slow one.
我们管不了他，若是他一路喊喊叫叫，难免会引来官兵盗匪，到时候所有人都要完蛋。
We can't handle him. If he keeps yelling, it'll draw attention from soldiers and bandits. Everyone will be in trouble. Agreed. I sided with Tang. This lamb was too hard to handle and might stir up troubles.
哎，行，我早知道你会不愿意。
Alright, alright. Figured you wouldn't be keen on this one.
哎，正好，也罢。其实我也担心那肥羊会不喜欢男娃，哪怕这种肥点的，带来的是废话。
That's fine, unless I was worried the fancy sheep wouldn't like a boy, even a plump one. There's a high chance of a return.
哎呀，哎，狗子，
Might as well bring that lamb. That lamb. I furrowed my brow, puzzled by Yin-san's words. Before long, the waiter returned with another lamb. The lamb stepped out from the backyard, immediately catching my eye. Appeared to be around 10, in the early years of schooling. Donned in worn-out clothes, her skin neither dark nor particularly fair. Quite slender, my first takeaway from observing her. She had a small frame, clothes tightly wrapped around her, revealing protruding bones from her wrists. The thin fabric outlined her bones. Her hair was pitch black, while her eyes had an unusual deep blue hue. This lamb appeared delicate. If she were a bit plumber, perhaps she'd be a beauty in the making. Oh, fucking Christ. Yeah, I think that's it for me. Ew. Just wanted to take a look at it, considering I don't really play. Again, it's not really a game in the first place. It is a virtual book, basically.